I really want to go backpacking, but what do I spend my money on? What's up, backpackers? I'm Dan, and welcome back to Backpacking Adventures, where we talk about backpacking, hiking, and gear. And if you're new to this channel and those interest you, consider subscribing, but make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Okay, so you want to go backpacking, but you're on a budget. What gear do you buy first? How do you get the biggest bang for your buck? So if you're on a limited budget, there are three main things that you want to focus on getting first. And I feel these are the three most important things that you really need to take the time and research and what you should spend the majority of your money on. They keep you dry, they're going to keep you warm, and it's what you use to carry everything. And you should also buy these in a specific order. First is your shelter. Why do you need to buy your shelter first? Well, number one, it's going to keep you out of the elements, which is the most important thing. And number two, the decision you make on your shelter may influence decisions you make on the next two items. Now, when you're choosing a shelter, what do you want? Do you want a tent? Do you want a hammock? Do you want to sleep in a bivvy? Do you want to sleep just under a tarp? When you're choosing a shelter, you want to make sure it's waterproof. You want to make sure that it has been seam sealed. If you buy a really cheap tent, there is a good chance that you get out in the rain and you're going to get soaked. You also want to make sure that the tent is big enough. For me, when I sleep in a tent, I like to keep my gear in there with me. And if at some point you want to take another person with you, you want to make sure it may be big enough for both of you. But ultimately, your shelter is basically your house out in the trail. And you want to make sure it's going to be good enough to protect you from the elements. Next is your sleep system. Now, this can slightly be determined by the shelter system. For instance, if you wanted a hammock, you will also need an underquilt. If you're sleeping in a tent, you don't need an underquilt, you'll need a sleeping pad. And yes, you can use a sleeping pad in a helmet. In a helmet? What am I thinking? Yes, you can use a sleeping pad in a hammock, but traditionally you use a top quilt and underquilt. Now, your sleep system includes your sleeping bag and your sleeping pad or underquilt if you're choosing a hammock. When you're choosing a sleep system, you want to make sure that they're going to last, they're going to be durable, and that they're going to be rated for the temperatures specifically to what you're going to be camping in. The last thing you want is to get out on the trail and it's 30 degrees and your sleeping bag is rated for 50 degrees. It's going to be a cold night. The lower the temperature rating of the gear you choose will allow you to use it on a variety of temperature ranges. The higher temperature rating you go, the more you're limited to warmer weather. Your sleep system is what is going to keep you nice and warm. So it's good to spend some money to get a quality sleep system. Now, the last thing is your backpack. Well, why your backpack? Because it's the thing you're going to be carrying your whole house and everything in it. It's going to be on your back. You want it to be comfortable. You want it to fit right. You want it to be able to handle the weight load of what you're carrying. Believe me, if you have a backpack that is not able to carry that load, you're going to feel it on your shoulders and on your hips, and it's not going to be comfortable. But before you buy the backpack, you want to look into all the other gear you need. Your cook system, your water filters, your clothes, all of those things. Now, if you're having trouble deciding what you need, well, I just published a video about 3 weeks ago on an entire gear loadout on a budget. So check that out. Maybe that'll help you. But once you identify the things that you're also going to need and maybe be purchasing in the future, that's when you get the backpack. So why is the backpack the last thing you choose? You don't want it to be too big that it's just overwhelming for the gear you have. And most importantly, you don't want it to be too small for the amount of gear you have. The last thing you want to do is you get all your gear and you have your backpack that you purchased first and your gear doesn't fit in it. That's going to be a problem. So again, these three things are what are going to keep you dry, they're going to keep you warm, and they're going to help you carry all this gear. So do a lot of research. I have a lot of videos on my channel for beginner backpacking that can help you out, but do your research and make sure that you're getting something that's going to last you, something that's going to be quality for the money that you have. So let me know what kind of gear you bought when you first started backpacking in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.